Английский канал, говорю в английский канал.
Так, отличный микрофон. Ну что, друзья, я
So, dear
предлагаю
friends, I
начинать.
suggest that we start.
Тогда занимайте свои
Please
места
take your
поудобнее.
seats, make yourself comfortable, and let us start our session,
Круглый стол.
our round table.
От имени Почта Банка
On
я
behalf of
рад вас
Fintech Bank, I'm happy to
приветствовать
welcome
на
you
круглом
at the
столе,
round
который
table,
называется
which is called Fintech
«Финтех
of
завтрашнего
Tomorrow,
дня от нового
the
поколения».
view of new
Наше
generation.
мероприятие
Our
является
event
частью такого
is
большого
part of
пятого
a
международного
large-scale
научного форума,
scientific
который проходит
forum,
в РЭО имени
which
Плеханова.
is arranged in the
Сегодня мы с
university
вами на
named after
нашем круглом
Plekhanov.
столе
And
поговорим
today at the
о
round
понятии
table we are going to
финтех,
talk about
которое
such
сопровождает
notions
повседневную
as
жизнь.
fintech, the way it is represented in everyday life, and we'll try to talk quite
Мы вам будем
simply.
задавать
We will
вопросы,
ask
вы
you
нам будете
questions,
задавать
you will
вопросы.
ask
Поэтому предлагаем
questions,
сегодня
and that is why we
просто
suggest
непринужденно
that today
поговорить
we
на
should
финансовые
easily
темы
discuss
и понять, что
financial
на самом деле
topics and
финтех это не
understand
так
that
сложно.
actually
И
fintech
перед
is
тем,
not
как мы
that complicated as it
начнем,
might
давайте
seem. But
порассуждаем,
before we
что же
start,
такое
let
финтех.
us
У
try
вас
to
на
negotiate what is
большом
fintech. At the
экране
large
уже
screen,
есть
you
QR-код.
can see QR
Предлагаю
code,
каждому
and I
сидящему
suggest
в
that each of
аудитории
you sitting
написать,
here
что
in
же
the room
такое,
should
по
put
вашему
down
мнению,
what do you
финтех.
think
Когда
fintech
вы будете
is.
писать, у нас
When
на
you put
экране будет
down
появляться
at the screen, you will see a cloud of tags or words. Whatever you write down will be
и как раз это отобразится на экране.
reflected at the
Можно
screen.
писать слова,
So you
можно
can
писать
write down some words, you can write
Вот.
down
Ну,
word
конечно, не
combinations
какие-то длинные
and not
предложения.
some long
Ну,
sentences.
что-то можно
Well,
написать. Самое
you
популярное
can
слово, которое вы
share your
напишете,
ideas, and the
оно
most
самое
popular
большое
word
на
that you
экране,
write down will be the
и
biggest at the
будет
screen,
таким
and it will
большим
be
жирным
shown in
цветом.
bold
Ну,
and
а пока вы
big
пишете, я
letters.
хочу
And
представить
while you
коллег,
are
которые
writing down, I would like to
находятся
introduce my colleagues sitting
Да,
next to me,
и они тоже пишут.
and
Вот.
they
Со
are
мной
also
Мария
filling in the table. I have
Вот,
here
она
Maria
сегодня тоже
Pankratova.
будет
She
модератором.
is
Это
going to be
студентка
moderator
второго
today,
курса
a
Первой
student of the second
академии
year,
МИДИА, а также
First
мои
Media
коллеги
Academy, and also my colleagues from
Петр
Почта
Стерлигов,
Bank,
руководитель
Petr
службы
Sterlingov, Head of Marketing
Игорь
Service,
Минаев,
and Igor
руководитель
Minaev,
управления
Head of
Пушкинская
Department
карта. Вот сегодня
Pushkinskaya
мы с вами
Card.
поговорим как
Today
раз
we
о
are going to
технологиях.
discuss
Я
technologies,
расскажу про новые
and I'm
интересные
going
проекты,
to talk
Петр
about
расскажет
new
про маркетинг,
interesting projects.
и
Peter
все, что
will
с
speak
этим
about
связано. Вот. А
marketing
Игорь
and
расскажет
everything
про
related to this,
нашу
and
интересную
Igor will
пушкинскую
talk
карту.
about our
Также
Pushkin card.
сегодня вас
So,
вас
today
ждет еще конкурс.
you
Вот,
also
для
will
приготовить
have a
подарки.
kind of
Оно здесь
contest.
указано.
You
Вот,
see
размещены.
gifts in
Можете
front
выбирать
of
для себя
us.
лучший
You can
подарок.
choose
Ну
the
и
best gift
за
that you
самый
like.
интересный вопрос
For the
мы
most
эти подарки
interesting
будем дарить.
questions,
Ну что,
these
давайте
gifts will
посмотрим
be
на наше
distributed.
облако тега, что у
So
нас
have a
там
look at that
появляется.
tag
Ну
cloud.
что, значит,
Whatever
финтех
appears there.
это технологии
So fintech is technology,
да.
finance,
Технологии.
financial technologies,
Будущее, это
future,
финансы. Что у нас еще? Это банк,
finance,
это деньги.
bank, money,
Считают скорость.
speed.
Что такое 40 и 42?
What is 40 and 42?
Это тоже, наверное, финтех.
I think it's also related to
Сколько
fintech.
проголосовало за? Я
So,
понял.
how many people voted? So, 40 people in our audience voted for technologies. That fintech is technologies. Well, basically, yes. Fintech is related to financial technologies, and we also see different words here. Artificial intelligence, transformation, develop and transform area,
Высшая школа,
also high school, and so on and so forth.
Ну что, пока
Many
вы
different
слова,
things. While you
я
are
тогда, наверное,
preparing
предлагаю начать нашу такую
your
первую
words,
встречу.
I suggest that we start our first session, and I'm going to talk about three interesting bank technologies that we have in Почта Bank: a multi-signature technology, biometry, and also digital profile.
Вот. Ну, давайте начнем, наверное,
Let us start.
Да.
Well, and in order for us to begin our session, I would like to introduce Denis Lopatin, Head of Department of Sales Efficiency, Почта Bank. Thank you.
Ну что, значит, начнем рассуждать
Let's start discussing financial technologies. Let's talk about,
Сначала поговорим про мультиподпись.
first of all, multi-signature, and I have prepared the first question for you. What do you think a multi-signature is? What is multi-signature? Let's try to discuss. What do you think? Oh, well, I will start. I believe this is kind of possibility to sign some document remotely or to invent something not coming directly to some institution. You can sign it online. That is the way I understand, guys. And what do you think? Please switch on mics and respond to the question. My name is Polina. I agree with Maria. This is an electronic signature which is registered at some website in personal account, and with the help of the signature you can sign whatever you like, and it is very quickly. Well, yes, you have actually explained everything. And actually I can give the floor to my colleagues. So it's really good that you have realized the main secret of multi-signature, that this is something digital and which helps you to sign something. I would like to share a simple example with you. When you check in or checked in a Telegram or at some website, what do you normally see? So you fill in your telephone number and you receive an SMS message in response to confirm that you really registered in this website. And so we have made approximately the same thing with Pochta Bank and Russian Post. So once you ordered some things from Chinese online shops, you came to a post office with your passports, and with the passport you had to stay for some time for you to be double-checked, and your personality would be confirmed, and you would receive a letter or parcel. Now, passport is not required to receive your parcel. You can switch on multi-signature, electronic signature, which can help you to confirm this or that operation. And now you can receive a letter or a parcel with the signature with an SMS message, and you do not have to have your passport with you. And for the bank, this is also a simple thing. Before you have to go directly to the bank in order to open a bank account with your passport, with many other documents. So now a multi-signature substitutes for everything. You sign agreement for multi-signature, and then you download application for Pochta Bank online, and with this multi-signature you can open a bank account with an SMS message and also arrange a virtual online CAD, and you do not need to have a plastic card. So this is the way the technology of multi-signature operates, and also you can sign documents with SMS messages. It's everywhere, working in the bank as well as in the post office. This is an example of Fintech which has brought us together. So I do hope that you can hear me. My name is Michelle. So, signature is really cool, but when I was a child, I actually imitated the signature of my parents. Is it possible to do the same thing with an electronic signature, or is there a technology with a unique NFT, with a blockchain? How can you secure that it's really confidential and secure? It's a good question, Michelle. I would like to talk about this in the second unit, which is related to biometry. Actually, the signature works in the same manner. Here is your cell phone, and you receive an SMS message, and of course somebody can steal your cell phone, or something can happen to your cell phone. So in order to secure your signature and your SMS message, we use biometric technologies. Biometry is around us, is everywhere around us. It is in the cell phone. We can unblock our cell phone with our Face ID, or you can pay for underground fee with biometry as well. Or, for instance, today when I entered your building, I saw a device which read my face and didn't let me in. This is kind of device with the usage of biometric technologies, and we use the same biometric technologies in the bank. We have a client coming according to us, we take a picture of the client and we double check if there is a big. If you are present in this space, we double check for fraud because there can be fraud in the bank. And after we double check, we see the biometric image. And when a person, a client, applies for a loan, we also take a picture, or a client takes a picture of himself or herself online, and we are sure that the personality is confirmed. So it is not possible to imitate this SMS message. These are the biometric technologies which are already implemented in our bank. And once I have started talking about loans and bank products, I would like to relate to the third part, which is called digital profile. What do you think a digital profile is? Well, but for the word digital or profile, which other associations can occur to you, dear friends? So, hello, I'm Nika. I think that a digital profile is kind of combination of all the data of the client or some person, all the documents which compile this profile in internet. For instance, at the state service, the profile with all the passport, bank data and other things. All right, great, thank you. You are absolutely right. Actually, a digital profile. Well, I would like to share such an example. You used to be students or school children not long ago, and you had kind of digital diary for your marks. I do not know. Well, here you have the same thing. The same digital log. So a digital profile is our digital log with all our data being stored at the portal of state service. What this portal is created for? To make a passport or to get a reference before, you had to go to multifunctional center to stay in line and to sign in for receiving your passport. So for a couple of years, our country is developing the portal of digital services and develops the technology of digital profile, when all the data is stored at this portal, and each of us can share this data with whoever you want, in this case with the bank. So you can share your digital profile with the bank. What for? This is done for the purpose like this. When a bank provides a loan, the bank is double-checking a client, where a person works, what kind of income a person has, or whether a person is unemployed at all. This is important for the bank to give the loan that a client can pay back. So, if a person wants to receive many million rubles, but a person can fail to pay monthly payment, and it will not be all right. So, digital profile lets the client not to have many documents, not to collect all the reference from the accounting office with the references about the income, but a person can just come to a bank with the passport or apply through mobile application. A client agrees that the bank can see the digital profile of a citizen. The bank will see that a person is employed with this or that income and thus receive a loan. This is the way technologies of digital profile operate not only in Pochta Bank but also in all financial market. I have shared information about a digital profile, but I think I'm talking too much. So it's time for us to move on to another activity, which is called questionnaire, related to your treatment to innovative financial technologies. So, dear friends, please scan the QR code that you see on the screen. Scan the QR code and start going through the questionnaire. In this poll, we shall see questions in the screen, so then I read out the questions. I have these questions.
Итак, значит,
with
будет
me,
несколько
so I
вопросов. Значит,
will
какой способ
talk
общения
about
с
several
банком вы
questions.
предпочитаете?
Which way of communication
Потом
with the
будет
bank
второй
you
вопрос.
prefer?
Как вы
The second
оплачиваете
question, how do you pay for your
Третий
purchases?
вопрос.
Question number
Готовы ли вы
3,
доверить
are you
управление
ready
своими
to
деньгами
trust your
нейросетям или
money to
другим
be managed
технологиям на
by
основе
neural network
искусственного
and,
интеллекта?
or other
Вспоминаем
technologies
наш опыт
based on
ответа.
artificial
Мы сегодня что говорили,
intelligence?
что
So
говорили
remember
про
our
искусственный
cloud
интеллект.
of tech. You have already mentioned
Четвертый
artificial
вопрос.
intelligence.
Какие
The
опасения и
fourth
предубеждения
question,
у вас
which are
относительно
your
новых
prejudices
финтех-сервисов?
against new fintech services?
И
And
пятый вопрос.
question number
Заменит
5,
криптовалюты
whether
и другие цифровые
cryptocurrency
валюты
or
обычными
other digital
деньгами. То есть,
currencies
если
will
кто-то
substitute
про
regular
крипту и
money.
цифровые вещи
Michelle
уже
has
говорит,
already mentioned
задавал
these
вопрос.
things and asked a
Вот,
question
поэтому, друзья,
related to that.
пока
So, dear
вы
friends, while
отвечаете,
you are
вот, я думаю, что у
answering,
нас будет
I think that
пару минут.
we'll have a couple of minutes.
Предлагаю вам высказаться.
So, I suggest that you share your opinion
И как раз ответить на
and
вопрос.
answer
Как
to
вы
the
думаете,
question.
да,
What do you
вот,
think?
какой способ общения с банком,
Which
на ваш
way of
взгляд, наиболее
communication with the
предпочтительный?
bank is the best for you?
Да, здравствуйте снова.
Да.
Good
Я
afternoon
считаю,
again.
что
Well, I
в силу
believe that
нашего, не знаю, темперамента нашего
as
поколения, нам
considering
наиболее
the temperament
некомфортный
of
способ
our
общения
technology, for us the most uncomfortable way of communication is by calls and other things. So any text option of communication with bank representatives is most comfortable for us because most of the time we spend in messengers, well, Telegram and other platforms which are most popular by our generation. Well, these things are convenient. So we move on to internet. Our future, our fintech, our digit is what internet, messengers, and, well, bank departments are not required. I would like to interfere. My name is Nikolai, and my opinion is different. It's more convenient for me to communicate by phone with a consultant because some things are quite complicated to formulate in text. And when you provide information with your voice, you can be understood better and you can get a quicker response because these automatic chatbots or some other digital consultants quite often provide prepared answers from popular Q&A questions. And far and away, not all problems are reflected there. And personally, for me, it's most convenient to call 2 minutes to discuss everything and I receive help. So I think that it depends on a person, whether a person is communicative or not. Well, and I would like to ask another question. Have you ever faced a situation that on the call you are welcomed not by a normal person, but by a bot who can speak? And what do you think about it? Whether it's easy for you to cooperate with them, or is it the same chatbot, but the one that can speak? Well, I keep on facing this situation, but again, they respond to the most popular questions. And it cannot respond to your question. And it suggests if the bot cannot answer your question, he will switch the call to the operator. But I understand that far and away not all questions are already available for answers for every specific situation. So I would like to interfere. I have 2 specific cases. Oleg, the voice assistant of Tinkoff, and Afina from Sberbank. And if Oleg by Tinkoff is convenient, once you ask it to connect you to a live operator, and it will be done by a live person if a bot fails. And with Afina, we always have the same problem. I ask whether I would like to talk to a live operator. The bot responds that this option is not there. And it's again and again. I enter a Sberbank website and I see that somebody else may have the same problem. So there are official proposals. So they say, try to tell Afina a couple of times that you need to talk to live operators. So I keep on repeating the same for 10 minutes, feeling a total idiot, communicating with a robot, not understanding anything. And I had a similar situation. I was calling to an organization, not a Pochta Bank, I just wouldn't like to mention it. So, and there, the operator said, tell your account number. No, I'm just calling you to get to know my account number. I cannot tell tell this to you. So after I repeated 10 times the word operator, after 3 minutes I was switched to an operator. It's true. So thus we can kind of destroy artificial intelligence, which is too artificial sometimes. You can break any intellect. I will share my case chatbot. I tried to explain my problem for quite a long time.
It suggested some irrelevant actions. I requested several times an opportunity to speak with a live person, and as a result I received feedback. You have been talking to a live person, but we are working according to a script. That is why the live person is not always the best solution. And we do hope that artificial intelligence will be the best solution for this situation, and this will be the case in the near future. And as an example, you tell us about our competitor. Some companies are quite close to it. We have one more question from Elizabeth from the audience. Good afternoon, my name is Elizabeth. It's not a question, it's just a comment. As for me, it is more convenient to use an application and other messengers, and I also like phone calls. But when you call, you usually hear, if you want a service like this, please press 1, press 2. Then you listen. You have to listen to music, sometimes not always pleasant, and you cannot distract because you expect an answer at any time. And in the application, for example, you have an opportunity to make an inquiry and be not connected and come back despite the time of the answer, because, for example, in case of the telephone, you can always miss a call. That is why application is more convenient. Thank you very much. Good afternoon, my name is Nino. I also would like to add, we were speaking about messengers, Telegram. There is more trust for application, mobile application. It will be more convenient for support, for live people. For example, I faced a problem with Tinkoff. I received several links which were supposed to solve my problem. And for everybody, it was more convenient. So it is much easier for the provider to give a proper link with an answer to your question. There are many websites which are just a copies of real sites, and that is why many frauds use these irrelevant websites. Perfect, thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Vladislav. I have been listening to numerous speakers, and due to development of technologies, chatbots, phone calls, but I think it will take another 5 or 10 years. There will be also demand for communication with the consultant in the bank office. It has two advantages. First of all, you see the person who you talk to, and you understand whether this person is capable of solving your issue, just judging by appearance. And you understand that when you are in the office, nobody will steal the information, and the communication will be between only you and the consultant. Vlad, thank you very much. Let me share my feedback. Our colleagues mentioned online applications, phone calls. I was waiting for such kind of feedback about bank offices, about communication. Thank you. Yes, I think we need the offices. Pochta Bank is a bank that has the largest network of banks, offices, even in small villages, in Moscow, everywhere. We are present in all cities and towns, and for me it is a pleasure to hear that in the future there will be still demand for bank offices. Peter and I consider building, creating, founding very digital, very innovative bank office. We will share some secret information a bit later. One more question. Hello, my name is Victoria. I would like to share my opinion as for development of social media. There we gain an opportunity to contact operator in the social networks, but there is a problem. Maybe for the use it's quite good. We learn how to do it. For example, it's okay for our parents, but recently I observed the situation how my granny couldn't solve her problem because she cannot print, she cannot type, she has very bad sight, she cannot see very well, and she doesn't have proper skills to type the necessary information. For her, it would be more convenient to contact the live person. So that is why the communication via telephone will be also on demand. Michelle, the floor is yours. I would like to add about the bank offices. We started talking about the older people. This is exactly the case that happened with my granny. She is a proficient user. She can use Telegram. She knows how to use video connection in Telegram. She uses iPhone. And once she phoned the bank, she called the bank, and then the bot had an argument with Siri, and my granny was crying. She said she would never use this bank again. I cannot say she started using your bank services, but she's considering that because you have the office. I see. So there can be an argument between robots. That's how artificial intelligence can react. You just imagine you go to school or to university, and at that time, Alice, Russian artificial intelligence, had an argument with Siri, and then with Oleg, another Russian artificial intelligence. And then you come home, and there is an argument and a fight between the robots and artificial intelligence. I will ask one more question. Nino has already mentioned that. Of course, we can face fraud in technologies, especially online. Let's discuss this topic. How safe are new technologies? What is your reaction to biometrics? You give your picture to somebody, somebody has to store it somewhere to save it, like in the metro, in the bank, or the same situation with text messages, SMS. Somebody sends something important somewhere. How safe are new technologies? And how safe is our artificial or not artificial intelligence? I see your hands. Once again, hello. I can see the modern technologies are necessary for development of all industries, including banks, financial sphere, based on historical background, starting from the previous century. The humanity cannot cope with time. The scientists can create a genius robot, and then in some time may not understand how to fix it in case of some failures. We hear that it's more convenient, it's safer, but we see some previous examples of hyper-innovative ideas, and we see that it can really go wrong, and the humanity will come back to the leaf signature, no scanners, everything will be as it used to be. Thanks a lot. Yeah, the floor is yours. Let's listen to those people who haven't taken the floor yet. Thank you for giving me the floor. My name is Gleb. Frankly speaking in general, every new innovation that has been developed by the person made people a bit scary. Of course, there are modern innovative technologies. We shouldn't forget that there are conservative people who like following traditions and who cannot quit old habits, cannot As for me, we need some time to get used to new things. It is the same as with old things. It's a habit. With the new things, it's just a habit. As soon as we develop the habits, we will forget about old things. We cannot put a cross on the old things. We need to keep it. We need to give a choice. Because when we limit the choice, it's not freedom, it's not democracy, it's totalitarianism. We are democratic people, free people. We need to have a choice. Thank you. Thank you very much. Is there any technologies that makes you scary? Frankly speaking, when I heard for the first time about biometrics, it really made me scary. First of all, the word is complicated. I didn't really understand it at first, and I got scary. When I heard this word, and I thought, oh, they can have a look at my face. Maybe with all new words and technologies, you start being scared. As I say, biometrics is a scary word. I think, if you remember, we had the same experience with smartphones. You have to press where there are no buttons. Maybe they will steal my fingerprints. Maybe they will enter my bank account. So it really makes me scary, but we shouldn't be so scary. Thank you. We were speaking more about safety of data and emergence of new technologies. If we keep thinking about it all the time, like following wirefront camera, registration on various websites. All these websites, they get the picture of your face despite your method of using phones. These services do not change anything, they just give you more comfort. Our face is already on the on many websites, so I think this is a great implementation of technologies. I would like to add, that's me, again, as for biometrics. You said that people will consider your pictures. When we go to the bank, when we start dealing with them, the banks have already a lot of data about us. So a picture is not so bad if it's not a picture of the past, of the ID, of course. I think that it's really great for a highly high-tech bank. It's, first of all, comfort for the client. We live in the time when technologies develop and for example, we travel abroad and, for example, we have to solve some issues immediately, and you have a multi-electronic signature. It's really great. As for safety, there is always a fear of something, even if it happened with you. For example, in the past, when we didn't have this multi-signature, these technologies, frauds could still take credits on your behalf. So you should be always aware, financially literate, and the bank should help you in it. For example, on Avito website, you can see a lot of banners warning you against frauds. This should be on all websites in order to help clients not to get confused. As for financial literacy, thank you, for mentioning that. I recollected that about 5 years ago, exactly in this room, the Pochta Bank received the prize for the largest number of events on financial literacy. We were on the stage and we were speaking about financial literacy, how important it is, how useful it is, and it is indeed so. if we used to conduct lectures, now we are more present online in our social media. We have a huge number of videos on this topic. Our PR service has conducted a lot of work and made a lot of videos which raise awareness of people as for financial literacy. I see the question from the audience. Dennis, indeed, we have a question. Introduce yourself, please. Hello, Vasily. I'm a schoolboy. Thank you very much for giving me the floor. I heard the question about total following of people. Absolute following. Of course, on one behalf, our pictures are already on the websites, online, but it is not always possible to link them with our personal data. Like, for example, it's not difficult to find out like telephone, name, and family name. In this case, all the data. In our case, and you know that it's really happens when people hack this data, and what will stop any person to find out any information about any person, about his place, where he is, what will prevent frauds or any other people against getting all the data. Thank you very much for your interesting question. I will start answering. On one behalf, we should be scared that the data can be leaked and somebody can hack. It's like digital etiquette or digital culture. When we go somewhere, we do not show our ID everywhere with our picture. We just give it to some people who we trust. So, for example, when you go to the bank office, in the bank office, the data is highly protected. And usually, biometrical technologies are not hacked. If you read different Telegram channels and information media, usually such things as telephones, names, and family names are leaked, because pictures are usually not leaked. This is the same happens with huge state web portals. There are several stages of identification of the person. For example, you enter the website of the state services of our government. At first, you enter your password, then you receive your SMS and some applications you can enter via your picture. Of course, we are not 100% protected, but you should be very careful when you enter your personal data. You should be aware that you enter the data not on the fake websites which pretend to be the banks but are not in reality. And it's like when you enter the correct website, it's like you must trust it like you have come to the bank office. You must be sure that you communicate with the real bank representative, for example, with some kind of a sign, like a blue sign, which confirms that this account is official. Another two questions, please. Couple of questions. I will just take some of your time. When I was a child and a teenager, I didn't have a mobile telephone. My friends didn't have mobile telephones. My relatives didn't have mobile telephones. And I think almost nobody had mobile telephones in Russia. When you were absent for a long period of time and your parents didn't know where you were, while you were going home, you had a lot of time to make up a story where you were in reality. Now everybody has a mobile telephone. We are all 24/7. We are available. 20 years ago, we couldn't imagine that, but we got used to it. We got used to this, as well as my friends. And the younger generation, my, for example, nephews and nieces, they don't know how to live without a telephone. But from the early childhood, they know that there are spam phone calls, there are calls from unknown telephone numbers which you shouldn't answer. There are scam SMS which you shouldn't react to. We cannot live in the desert, and that is why we cannot save our data somewhere in 100% secured place. We have to be prepared for that. And first of all, to learn the methods of self-protection, where you spread your data, which data you publish online, who you communicate with, who you trust. We are more open, we are more communicative. This is the trend of the future. Let's listen to another couple of opinions, and then we will touch upon another block of questions.
Hello, my name is Veronica. I would like to say yes, as it has already been mentioned, our photographs are shared in many social networks, in documents, in other state organizations, and it's much more scaring when we receive a message, and for that there should be a double-level system of security. When in one device you receive a message with your password or some kind of check-in information, somewhere you receive a code, not a password, but you should enter an SMS code, and from another device you receive a question whether you requested this password. Then yes, it will be protected, and if it exists in all the organizations which request our data, then it's possible to provide better security. Great, so this is kind of standby theme. At one device, at another device, okay. Double factor authentication. So there are such complicated words, but we will call it just standby passwords. So one more question, and we would finalize before the previous session. Continue the topic which was started by Igor Minaev. You have brought us to the idea that a modern environment presupposes adaptation to itself and also personal financial literacy. But this is a two-way process, and the company to which we provide data are also responsible for this data and should provide our data. So this is mutual trust. So I'm interested in a case, well, it's not banking, but this is Yandex Food. There was a big loss of information. Millions of users lost it, and the state fine was like 30 or 40,000. So a question is, to what extent we have a centralized control of data security? If only 30,000 rubles, well, it's less than a month's salary of a security service guy. Well, I will talk about centralized control. I don't know about Yandex. I've heard about this case. It's most unpleasant that somebody will get to know that you would prefer burgers for lunch or something else. Well, yes, we keep on ordering something, but regarding the bank, all banks in our countries are regulated by the central bank of the Russian Federation. And, well, partially there is a complexity of bank activity. As bankers say, or other people say, it's over-regulated. We have many other regulatory acts which protect banks, and central banks protects all the citizens from banks to some extent. As to information security, we have a lot of different events which are arranged by the central bank and is going to arrange this year with the Profile Ministry of Digital Development. So as to banks, as to storage of information, as to control over the information, this regulation is being done by Ministry of Digit and the central bank, which regulates all the bank activity. And I would like to add, actually, Regarding the case with Yandex Food, there is continuation, as you know, or don't know now. The legislators discuss the strengthening of responsibility for data sharing, and also the fines are being increased dramatically up to criminal responsibility and liability. And talking not only about banks, they are controlled by the central bank, but overall in the market there is Roskomnadzor, a body which controls the security of personal data, and well, they should control all the hacks, search for those who are to blame, to punish those who were guilty in this, and find some new technological decision so that it would be automatically monitored. And I would like to add once again, so in the university I was talking about an interesting topic, and I talked about information security, how to prevent from possible hacks. Well, the most dangerous thing is coming from internal staff, and not from hackers. So, if just a regular member of staff who get keys from the required room with a great database, he will be much more a dangerous criminal than a great hacker. It's important to know. Thank you for having raised this topic. Well, I see a question, Michelle. Well, I would like to comment upon this about security, about this stuff. It's a cool comment. So here, the clients are still protected by biometry. Not a single member of staff working with client data can get access to them until login and password are checked in, and until a picture is taken, until the person enters the system with biometry. So biometry helps our clients not only to secure data, but also get access to financial assets and provide such kind of security. When a staff member with the access would log in, we see who, where, and when, and any leakage of data will be controlled by these biometric technologies, which are used in the bank. Before we move on to the next session, let's answer one more question from Michelle, and we continue. The question is like this. So there was a situation with the Yandex Food and also Telegram, but not only data of users were shared, but when the data was lost, what should we do in this situation? What do you mean? Now I would like to be provocative, to be sad about it. By the way, I never heard about this case about loss of data in Telegram. There are some technical issues which happen from time to time, but this is a philosophical thing. If we trust Telegram, we exchange messages through the messenger and we like it, and this is that way we store data there. We understand that this is kind of trusted messenger which is working, it's relatively stable, and we trust this data. So here it's really very important, as I have already mentioned, not to share your data to some unclear messengers or sites and so on and so forth. Well, I would like to make a joke, or it will be some strange for somebody, but there is such a thing, backup. So once you try to store super important data, always think about backup. Second and third backup, everything can happen. I remember my diploma, which I store on one cloud, in another cloud, and also on the disk, the computer, on pen drive, which is stored in a cupboard. So some other documents are stored in the same way, so the power of backup cannot be overestimated. So, within the frames of our round table of questions and answers, we discussed technologies, security, and even financial literacy was touched upon. And now it's time to discuss advertisement. And we give the floor to Petr Sterligov. Petr, could you please tell us How to advertise a bank, because nobody likes ads. It interrupts us, it interrupts movies, or some banners appear in internet. Please tell us how to arrange most successful and most interesting ad in a bank. Hi everyone. Well, I'm not going to tell this because the previous discussion is proved that it is much more interesting to listen to you than to us. So, every marketing is based on marketing research, so let's research. And please, those who can watch TV, raise your hands, please. And those who saw an ad, watch the bank, no matter where. And who likes the advertisement of Pochta Bank? I like the new one. So once you answered the question, you like the ad of Pochta Bank. Are you sure you answered this very question? So you answered the question whether you liked the ad or the brand or image of the brand and understanding whether this brand is really for you. I wonder what you can tell me about this. Most likely the ad itself, which I didn't like. And as to Pochta Bank, well, what is Pochta Bank for you? What is it? About what? Well, I do not have many associations with this bank because I think we talk more about Tinkoff, about Sberbank, and I do not know a lot about Pochta Bank. I was not interested in that, and due to that, I cannot answer your question. And the ad itself, well, I like it, and I'm a student of media communication, so we have branding, and I consider it from this point, how it was made, what was the introduction. And as Pochta Bank, well, I do not have information about the brand. I would like to say that, well, the youth got to know Pochta Bank better when Pushkin card appeared, because that is a really cool idea which you could unite the youth and direct to the sphere of art, and it has become popular and in demand. And when you like some product, some company or something else, you are much more interested in their ad, in their promotion. You pay more attention to that than to what has just appeared in the market. And but for the cover of the ad, we also consider the product. Thank you. So, what is Pochta Bank? Pochta Bank is Sergei Garmash, a Russian actor, first and foremost. What is the image of him in your mind? Well, as the branding is based by actor of my grandfathers and grandmothers, it's a bank of my grandparents. And the Pushkin card didn't help me to change this image, and Alexander Pal didn't help as well. And is it important for you? I'm talking about Pushkin card. Well, is it important for you which banks provides for operation of Pushkin card generally? Well, I have faced it just this month because, well, I have changed a number at the state service portal, and I had to go there personally to Pochta Bank to change their in mobile application, in the call, I could not change this. And for me, this is associations of a bank from the past. I have to go to the bank personally again. Anybody else has some ideas to share? Once again, good afternoon. Talking about the ad itself, Pochta Bank is associated with Garmash, Russian actor, but I have association that it is more like bank for families. So everything is calm and quiet as well as at home. And as to advertisement of Pochta Bank, it is different from other advertisements of banks, Sberbank and others, Tinkoff and others, because Sber and Tinkoff keep on improving everything, upgrading with modern technologies, and Pochta Bank is more old school and more native. You still remember these times when you had to walk to the banks. And well, for me, this is it attracts me somehow. Hi once again. First of all, I would like to say that when I considered the discussions at this conference, biometry, Pochta Bank, Pushkin card, and I thought, well, all the things that do not cooperate with each other. Then I realized why biometry is used, where it is used, then Pochta Bank and Pushkin card. So I could not even imagine that Pochta Bank is providing a Pushkin card. And to be quite honest, I never saw an ad of Pochta Bank. I don't know how Pochta Bank decided to avoid me and not showing this ad to me. I have never seen a single ad of Pochta Bank. I agree with Vlad that actually Pochta Bank, for me, if at all, it is associated with something mainly with traditions, with something, well, family-like, kind of cozy. But when I saw the name Pochta Bank for the first time, it seems to me that these are two words that cannot go together, like an apricot and a plane. I couldn't even understand what it is. And could you please tell, when you got to know that Pochta Bank is making Pushkin card, did your relation to Pochta Bank changed? Well, now that I heard this, and my respect to Pochta Bank is much bigger now. I agree with Gleb. I have the same feeling. I didn't know that Pushkin card was done by you and implemented by you. Now I have more respect to you. Hi, my name is Dalim, and I would like to say that I got to know about Pochta Bank before sanctions. And when I compared which banks provide better conditions to get union pay, I chose Pochta Bank, and also immediately as I saw Pochta Bank, it was associated with the Post of Russia. And not surprisingly. Well, I would like to contradict to this opinion about traditions and family. Well, for me, it's kind of stability. This is my association, because it's not always good to have a lot of advertisement participated by many famous personalities. Your ad is kind of a prerequisite for stability, minimalism, and Pushkin card is the best thing. We need something else. So Igor seems to be happier and happier. Such a great promo to Pushkin card. Well, my mission is almost completed. Dear friends, I would like to add that those who are sitting in the room can also participate in discussion. Please raise your hand and I will approach you. Just briefly, Denis asked to talk about a case so that you would understand why we have these words at the screen. Just to be brief, you can interrupt me immediately for you to be interested as well. So, we are the bank which is not big. Our media investments are 5 or 6 times as little as the banks of competitors. So it means that for every 5 or 6 ads of Pochta Bank, we have around 5 or 6 videos of Sberbank, Tinkoff. So out of all the bank categories, we take only 3%. We also understand that last year there was a decrease in allowance provision for a clear-cut reason. So the rate of central bank grew, and the rates for the accounts grew as well, and people do not take loans again. And the base for Pochta Bank is related to loans. It's quite obvious that political instability, economic instability made people really worry, and most likely you'll be able to get that the key factor, the key attribute of the brand, which is important for choosing a bank, was reliability. Once banks started being closed, went under sanctions, it's important for people to understand that the bank is reliable? You were absolutely right to mention this. What is reliability? If we consider it from the point of view of perception of the audience, there are three components. Which are they? What do you think? What do you think is the basis of reliability for the brand? A reliable bank? What kind of bank it is? Stable? But to be more specific, what do you think? What stable bank? Which will not disappear, which can communicate with the clients, with good reputation, of course. You are absolutely right, but in marketing we need something specific. If I say that I have cool reputation, well, people will not believe you. But once you come and say we are 75 years old, and as Sberbank is doing, so people believe that it means reliability. But from the point of view of advantages for clients, it doesn't give anything. Well, Alfa-Bank now says that they're 30 years old. I'm 36. So what? It doesn't mean that they would provide better services. So one thing is reliability, then state support. In our country, we believe that if something is related to state, it means that it will never be destroyed. Pochta Bank is only 7 years old. Then from the point of view of age, we have nothing to say. As to state support, it's quite clear. We have an eagle in our logo, and it is quite clear. And the scale. People love to trust something big, something large scale, and people believe that if something is big, then it's reliable. So the previous year, we decided to reconsider the number of our departments, which has already been mentioned here, and we realized that we are the biggest bank.
We said that the Pochta Bank is the largest bank. All people were a bit, confused. If we ask you what is the largest bank, you will reply that it's not Pochta Bank, but in reality, as for the number of bank offices, we are the largest bank. So it was written the largest bank as for the number of offices. We started drawing reliability, and we started answering questions from the audience. Competitors approached us and asked us why we consider ourselves the largest bank. We all benefited from it, and we understood that we have to move from the emotional level to the rational level. We changed one word. We used to be the largest bank, then we have become the bank that is the closest to you. It caused a lot of emotions. Some of them were negative. I know that you are experts in media and journalism. How do you consider this phrase? It, a bit unconventional. I think it confuses everybody. Everybody goes along the street and think and consider this. They were illiterate that they have written this phrase. But it's like a great PR action, because you start considering this phrase. It really catches. You really catch it. It becomes catchy. At first I read the brightest bank, and then I understood that this is a closest bank, and at the same time it is the brightest bank. What are others' thoughts? Frankly speaking, if we call the bank Pochta Bank, the closest bank in Russian sounds like Samый рядом, which sounds really unconventional. I recollected when I saw for the first time the advertising on TV of Pochta Bank. I heard a lot of things. But the first association was that my first reaction was, will the money bank transfer take the same time as the post? It was my first association. It seems to me, in this motto, there is a message that Pochta Bank is the bank office is everywhere, even in the very remote town and village. It's really close to you, and you really can approach it very fast. It seems to me the post has become faster when Pochta Bank appeared. That's pretty much true. I would like to add that the bank that is the closest to you, not all people are linguists, and not all people who watch TV can understand whether it is correct or not. If they Google it, they can enter your website and find your advertising, because this motto is catchy, especially among all these usual conventional advertising tools. What else is close to you? Family, friends. This is something and somebody that is close to you. And what does it mean? It means that you can trust it. I agree. It's not only territory connection, but also emotional connection, because behind these letters you can see the girl who is smiling, and you trust her. I would like to say, by the way, my name is Olga. I'm taking the floor for the first time. The closest bank, the most important is the message. In the catchy advertising, the first function is not only catchy function, but also it must be a pleasant message. Now, for example, there is Ozon, Russian marketplace, and there are mottos which really confuse in a negative way. I would prefer something catchy and pleasant than catchy and irritating. This is it. The fact that, yeah, you're welcome. I can take the floor, please. First of all, I would like to say I absolutely agree with Elizabeth. And when we read the closest bank, it sounds, you feel like warmth because it is close to you. It's like futurists who refer to something as how it sounds and not what it means. I really respect you. I really would like to hug you. You will have such an opportunity at the end. We have one more question from the audience. It's not about the closed bank, but also about advertising of the banks. Good afternoon, my name is Juliana, and I have a question. As we have already discussed, safety for people is very important, especially as everything that is related to finance, because we work also hard to make this money. Do you have any advertising tools that you use that your bank is the most reliable, and we can trust you our finance? Indeed. The case which we are sharing, this is exactly about the trust. We are huge, we are close to you, and we build the association that we are a reliable bank. Now we are moving to the second question. We understand that we are behind the schedule. This is a question of the face of the person, the face of the bank, how it represents itself. Garmash is associated as very stable, very reliable person, but the mass audience trusts him. The topic of the target audience. Our target audience is not really you. This is more, these are elder people with the income of average and below average. And for them, Garmash is absolutely authorized person, and they trust him. And they do not have a fear of losing money. The fact that we have eagles, this state Russian emblem in our logo, it is association with the state, with the post, which means we are a reliable bank. I'm very curious to hear your opinion about the following question. Personally, for you, is the ambassador required for brands? Are there ambassadors? Are there people for you who could be ambassadors and influencers? And will be additional trust to the brand. For example, if some person like Klava Koka, famous Russian singer, will start advertising that bank. You know, this tool of using celeb. This is a world trend. All banks, all the world banks use a celeb as an advertising tool. For example, we have Garmash. Of course, we pay him money. He will say whatever he says in order to give the message we ask him. So who is an influencer for you? Ambassador is a must. The person can absorb information better which is provided by the person. This is a literate psychological image. It's a very successful number of voice appearance features. If the person has a nice speech, it recollects, it wakes very nice emotions. Shall this ambassador be famous? This is not a must. Everybody is trying to use famous people, not in the direct context, but fresh faces. For example, some people who grow together with you, for example, a young person who is proficient in the bank services, it will raise the necessary emotions. When the person sees in the other person himself, and this person is a starter, is a beginner, he is not proficient in the financial sphere. If we consider famous people, the person who's looking for ambassador, I wouldn't look for somebody who participated in some doubtful events or he's so positive we'll all like him. For example, as Sergei Bezrukov, famous Russian actor, or he played not in a very good he played not a very good part in a very good series. It may play a bad joke. So when we select a celeb for advertising, we need to consider all factors. Both options can be trust a celeb and the person who is not famous but who wakes up positive emotions. I would like to add that I wouldn't use the personalities who participate in some comedies or entertaining shows or programs like stand-ups. In some situations, they will play a positive part, but they may not call the trust. And the bank, maybe it will be better for the youth, for the young generation. But as you say, your target audience is more elder people. Do you have any names in your mind of famous people who could be the ambassadors of your bank? Yeah. Sergei Mavrodin. Yes, that's a joke. Or maybe Brunov as an actor. No, Mavrodin. Sergei Mavrodin is a person who is famous for marketing. Being a host, I would like to take the floor and invite a person to take the floor for one more question. We would like to give you the prizes and to conduct our contest. So let's listen to one more question and we'll go forward. I saw that, okay, we can, please cut a long story short about ambassador, very, very short because we are running behind the schedule. Okay, let's give the floor to everybody who would like to take the floor, but please cut a long story short. I think that it is important to attract famous people to the sphere, even to the bank sphere. For example, my mom it was my mom's birthday. She received a phone call from a unknown number. It was famous singer Dmitry Malikov who said a very nice congratulations speech. This is her favorite actor, and it was a call from Sunlight jewelry shop, and she was so happy that she started really buying jewelry from Sunlight. It's the same like, for example, with Nagiv, another famous Russian actor who is advertising MTS, Russian mobile company. As a particular ambassador, I think we need to attract a person a personality which is famous but on a high intelligence level. It shouldn't be a comedian. I don't think it should be somebody from comedian TV channel TNT. For example, Mr. Yana Lopatenko. This is a person who is a famous YouTuber with scientific content. Yes, I know, he's cool. So if you cooperate with him, really, you can attract a lot of audience. Great, thank you. You have already mentioned about your target audience, and you said that your target audience is not the youth, but more the people. We have to consider a rational factor and marketing research, what audience you cover with your advertising tools, and if they're is it wise to cover all the types of audience? But with a specific advertising campaign, you can attract a specific group of people. And as soon as this advertising campaign comes to an end, this part of audience can disappear. So if we take, for example, a blogger who is on top now, whether then there can be, I have doubts whether people will follow because, for example, these people can say whatever you ask them for money, but it doesn't mean that he will always use your bank in all his social media. You're right. There are a lot of risks connected with advertising to connected with famous people. They even can die. This is the last question. Speaking about efficiency of advertising, I do not trust. I wouldn't even trust the advertising even with famous people. From one side, people can say whatever you ask them for money, but maybe they wouldn't like to risk their reputation, and at first they will learn whether they really want to advertise your bank. You really have to learn thoroughly your audience, marketing research, and then attract relevant celebs. Very interesting discussion. Being a host, I would like. So if you have some particular people in mind, you can come. You can approach us at the end. At the end, we will have two interactive activities. At first, we will have a contest, and then we will share the results. So if you have some questions left, you can ask them later. And we are going to speak about Pushkin card. On this screen, you can see QR code of our Telegram channel. Please subscribe. Pochta Bank, it's not only the bank for pensioners, as somebody has said today, it's also for the youth. We publish a lot, we post a lot of news, and we posted a leaf link to our session. You can see the leaf video on YouTube, Russian analog of YouTube, and then you can see your participation in this session. And dear online participants, we welcome you. Let me approach the contest. So we will have a questionnaire. So what is the mechanism? We will. So you answer, and we will notice who answers the first. You can see the questions on the screen. Our host will read them. Okay, let me start. I will start with the first question. How many multi-signatures have been issued by Pochta Bank? Up to 100,000, up to 1 million, up to 500,000, up to 10 million. Please raise your hand. Kate will approach you and you will say, I think 10 million. 10 million. 10 million. The fourth option, nope, not 10 million, a little bit less. The technology of the multi-signature emerged on the 1st of July 2022, just half a year ago. So that is why we haven't reached the target of 10 million. I think, dear people, those of you who have the mics, you can just say the answer. 1 million. 500,000. I wanted to say 1 million. Other options. Wait, who said million? Million is the correct answer. Congratulations. When will we give the present, right away or? Yeah, right away. And I will keep asking questions. And let me give you a hint. Questions to many answers are in our Telegram channel.
So I suggest that you read out biometric data for unified biometric system is. Pay attention to the screen, either sample of face and voice, or face only, or face, fingerprints and voice, face and cornea. Well, I believe number 3, that is face, voice and fingerprints. Some more options, face and cornea. Well, who said? Well, Vladislav is right. This is face and voice. None of the previously mentioned is stored in the unified base. So the third question. Maximum monthly limit for money transfers through quick payment system without commission fee. The right answer, 100,000. Right. 100,000 without commission. Next question. What cannot be used to pay for your things? Automobile key. Well, that was the right answer. Well, we have here a smartwatch, rings, stickers to smartphone. Well, ladies, somebody else mentioned the automobile key. So, one more question. We have some more questions. So, dear friends, a digital profile of a citizen is related to biometric data, passport data, set of personal data, or fingerprints. So, number 3. Everyone answered. Now everyone knows about digital profile. So, which is the maximum number of figures which a QR code can have for paying for your purchases? 7,089. This is the right answer. Great. Great. Congratulations. 7,089. So, now, well, the most interesting question, the main question, and everybody was waiting for this. Today we were discussing Pushkin card. How many Pushkin cards were issued by Pochta Bank? 7, 8 million, 5 million. 8 million. Who said 8? So you said 8. This is the right answer. So 8 million of Pushkin card. So thank you for having participated in this questionnaire, but we move on to our third session. Igor, who is waiting for us so long, and he is ready to share all the news and secrets of Pushkin card. Now we'll discuss the Pushkin card, and at the end of our today's session, we'll finalize the questionnaire that you have filled in today. So, start Pushkin card. We'll start with a small video.
22 лет может ходить бесплатно на выставки, музеи, концерты, спектакли и другие культурные мероприятия с помощью пушкинской карты. Сейчас я тебе расскажу, как это работает. Скачай приложение Госуслуги Культура и войди в него через свою учетную запись на госуслугах. Или пройди простую регистрацию, если учетной записи у тебя нет. Пушкинская карта сразу появится в приложении, на которой ты можешь купить электронные билеты в театры, музеи, филармонии, консерватории, культурные центры и концертные залы. Афишу мероприятий, доступных по твоей пушкинской карте, можно будет увидеть в приложении Госуслуги Культура и на портале kultura.rf. А если ты захочешь получить карту в уникальном дизайне, то это можно сделать в ближайшем отделении Почта банка, который стал оператором этого проекта. Оформляй пушкинскую карту в Почта банке. Там деньги на чудные мгновения.
So this is a small video we have prepared and issued before we launched the program of Pushkin card in September 2022. So I was talking about what should be done to make this product attractive for both client and bank. As Nietzsche said, if you can look down somewhere for a long time, somebody can look back on you. So, and actually there can be lots of sessions to discuss this issue. Who has Pushkin card? Do not hold your hands, please. Hold your hand, please. Who is sitting among audience? Clear. And now leave your hands, those who used it at least once. Put your hands down. Those who used it at least once. So everyone used Pushkin card. So Maria, if you have this card, why you do not use it? Well, frankly speaking, Pushkin cards are used to visit museums, theaters, and I am a theatrical person. I stayed in theater, worked in theater for 9 years, and I have all tickets available, and I didn't have time to get this. So I still have 5,000 annual rubles, and I'm still thinking about where I can spend it. So just to generalize your answer, well, it's not obvious where you can spend it and how you can spend this money. And you live in Moscow, and here there is no special problem with content. And if we consider some Verkhnya Salda or Uсть-Ilimsk or some other small towns in provinces, still there are problems for young people to which places young people can visit. We have issued more than 8 million of Pushkin card, and we actually need to issue several thousands more to reach 8 million, and around 1/4 of clients never used it. So let's remember this information and get back to it later. So what I would like to share, we talked about biometry, that our digital copies are somewhere in social networks. Our pictures and photos are in social networks. We have our retina and fingerprints everywhere. But it's not only a thing with your picture or a telephone with a beautiful or unbeautiful picture. Actually, a bank card in modern world is also kind of digital copy, avatar, which lives in a virtual world of digits, data, transactions, and so on. So paying by a Pushkin card or any other card, we also leave our digital track. Where we go, how we paid, with whom we were there at the same time, buying tickets to neighboring seats in a cinema. And we can answer a question. Number one, which is the main problem for Pushkin card now, and why does the state, while taking decision of spending many billion rubles on culture, didn't just allocate this money around the cultural institutions as it has been done? Why should we create such a complicated product as Pushkin card? And the question is very simple. If you have some ideas, I'm ready to hear. Well, before you share your hypothesis, I should say that the discussion was so alive that we have only 5 minutes left. I'm not going to spend more. We have kind of blitz. So I believe it's also an option to attract youth to cultural life in capital, to participate in all events, to visit museums, theaters, and so on and so forth. It's a very strategic goal and task to educate our young generation to make it more cultural if possible. But why a bank card? Because there are many other technologies, and we could just say, well, every third Saturday of month, the youth can visit museum for free, and to pay money to museums for that. Individual approach. I believe this is the main goal, and it's really cool individual approach to everyone, because on Saturday some people will have no time. They will have time on Tuesday, a day off on Tuesday, and they will be able to visit a museum, a cinema, a theater. And you have asked why the money is not located through all the institutions. Not all the institutions are interesting to a human being, to a teenager, and I believe that was one of the best options there. A great idea. So, I believe that first of all, I agree with Nino that it gives the freedom of choice, the right of choice. A person understands when he or she wants to see something. And the second thing is that almost everyone has a bank card. It's an indispensable part of our life, and thus to attach a Pushkin card, the same as bank card, but you not only pay for some product in a shop, but it pays for your knowledge you receive from museum. Well, and I'm more about why is it bank card, and this money is given to teenagers, and looks like, well, they understand that this is the money they just get for free, and they are really happy because of that. They understand, well, I have 5,000, but I can spend it on cinema, theaters, and they think about it really. Oh, well, if to summarize all your hypotheses, wonderful options were mentioned. Why a bank card? Because first of all, it gives an opportunity for a teenager to see some sum of money, how to spend it in a correct way and how to use it properly, and also pay with a ruble. So the events that are interesting will be visited more, and those which are not interesting, the cultural institutions which couldn't get adopted and imagine an interesting agenda, they will get less money. So this is a way for young people to control the situation and start voting with ruble for what is really important and interesting for them. And why I was talking about a digital track? Of course, the state doesn't think about where this, and so they keep track. We exchange statistics, information, and which is popular. Here we see the tendency. The more money they spend on Pushkin card to interesting events, the more interesting events we have for which we can spend money. Our culture is also transformed. So, some other comments? Well, I should say that actually everyone understood that theatrical performances are interesting to people, and if they have a choice whether to buy a theater, to Chekhov's theater, but not to everyone. For instance, I visit Karamazov, and you cannot visit them by Pushkin card. You cannot visit all performances in all theaters, and some performances are not available. And I visited Karamazov Brothers with Pushkin card. It depends on the theater. I'm talking about Bogomolov performance. Other performances are not available. Each of the theater performances are assessed separately, and there are expert communities which assess this, and the way the specific event was arranged. And actually, something can be part of the program, something can fail. And as the state is admitted as something oriented at youth, you choose yourself what is specifically interesting to you. So, dear friends, I suggest that the last words about the Pushkin card will be expressed by Igor. We do not take any questions now, but then I will have a suggestion about the way you ask questions you never asked. Well, actually, I do not have any last words because the program is still going to live and be developing. Well, think about it. Being consumers, being target audience of this program, what kind of proposals for further development of this card you see? Maybe there is not enough events, not enough content, not enough ways of using or information, or maybe lack of money. 5,000 is too little. We need 50,000. Well, you can approach and share your information. A great question. See, dear friends, as at 4 sharp, we have another session here, and we have to finalize. I have several offers. Well, the poll that we have filled in, the results of this questionnaire, you'll be able to read in our Telegram channel. Those who is not signed in, please join us. You see QR code at the screen, and the questions that you have not asked yet, or an answer to Igor's question, you can ask in our Telegram. I think that we will share this post after our session, and within this post in the comments, please put down your questions, and we will respond there. So everything will be provided in Telegram. It will be online, and of course, you will receive answers to your questions. And now we have a merge. We would like to mark most active participants of our event, and well, we would like to share some gifts. Ladies, please choose. Nadezhda Ekaterina kept track of our discussion, and now the gifts will be given to our participants. And I would like to express gratitude to you. You are a wonderful audience. Thank you for this hot discussion. Thank you for many interesting questions. And actually, I didn't have many forums like this when the audience was so much involved, and we really got so many questions. So, dear friends, thank you. Thank you so much for participation, and we'll be happy to participate in some other new forum after 1 year. Thank you so much. So, thank you.